In the endless darkness of the Viridian sector, a region of space so remote that even the most advanced civilizations barely mapped its edges, Nova Citadel, humanity's premier deep space command station, floated like a gleaming sentinel. Its spires of reflective alloys pierced the void, powered by the fusion cores that pulsed like the heartbeat of an ancient giant. The station had been built for one purpose: to anticipate the unexpected, to defend humanity against threats that others could scarcely imagine. Inside the central command hub, Commander Lyra Kale stood before the main holo display, her sharp eyes scanning lines of data that flickered in cascading columns of light. The display projected a three-dimensional map of the sector showing stars, planets, and, but more importantly, the approaching anomaly. The sensors had detected movement at the outer rim, and the readings were unusual. Too large. Too fast. Too coordinated. Torin, what do the scanners say? Lyra's voice was calm, almost serene, but beneath it lay the tension of a predator sensing its prey. Captain Torin Vey, her second-in-command, stepped forward, his posture rigid. Commander, it's massive. Readings indicate multiple vessels approaching from hyperspace vectors we didn't anticipate. Size and formation suggest the Zarathi. The Zarathi. Even the name carried weight across human colonies. A species of ruthless tacticians, known for crushing opponents in a merciless display of military efficiency. Most civilizations feared them. Most had already fallen. But humans had a stubborn streak that no one, not even the legendary Zarathi, could ignore. Lyra's lips curved into a faint smile. So they think they can strike first. She tapped a finger on the holo map, and the approaching ship's outlines shimmered in red. They don't know us yet. The alarm hadn't sounded. That was deliberate. The silent alarm was humanity's secret advantage, the ability to detect and analyze threats before they even registered as hostile. While other races relied on blaring sirens and panic protocols, humans trusted strategy, preparation, and the precise judgment of their commanders. A low hum filled the command hub as the station systems processed the incoming data. Artificial intelligence cores calculated trajectories, weapon ranges, shield strengths, and hundreds of other variables in real time. Lyra walked slowly along the platform, observing the dance of numbers and symbols projected in the air. Every movement of the approaching fleet had been logged, categorized, and evaluated. Every possible engagement scenario had been run through simulation after simulation. Torin, alert the fleet, she said. Her voice remained calm, but there was a steel edge to it. Prepare the hyperstrike protocol. I want all ships on standby. Let them approach if they wish. We'll be ready. Torin nodded and issued the commands with crisp precision. Across the station, hundreds of ships, sleek frigates, massive destroyers, and agile interceptors, came to life. Engines glowed blue as power surged through their cores. Weapon systems hummed, energy shields shimmered into visibility, and automated targeting arrays activated with a precision that bordered on artistry. The humans had trained for this moment for decades, and now it was here. Outside the reinforced glass of the observation deck, the void seemed to stretch endlessly. Stars shimmered like distant jewels, unaware of the coming storm. Then the first silhouettes appeared on the sensors. The lead vessels of the Zarathi Armada, enormous and angular, moving with terrifying coordination. Their hulls were coated in alloys that shimmered with a dark, metallic hue, and weapon emplacements bristled like the spines of some alien leviathan. Lyra studied them without fear. They believe their size gives them advantage, she murmured. They've underestimated human ingenuity before. Her mind flashed back to the countless simulations she had run during training, the lessons from past skirmishes, and the stories of human commanders who had turned the tide against overwhelming odds. Humans had never been the strongest in any conventional sense, but they were resourceful, adaptive, and fearless in ways no other species could match. The Zarathi would soon learn this the hard way. As the enemy fleet drew closer, subtle shifts appeared in the readings. Minor deviations in trajectory, micro-adjustments to velocity. Lyra smiled faintly. The Zarathi had not expected human detection systems to be this advanced. They were already reacting, already preparing their strategy, but it was too late. The silent alarm had served its purpose. Humans had the first move. And in war, the first move often meant everything. Torin, Lyra said, her tone cutting through the hum of machinery, mark all vectors. Identify the flagships. I want their vulnerabilities mapped before they even know we see them. Yes, Commander. Torin's fingers flew across his console. Holographic projections of the Zarathi ships rotated in the air, highlighting weapon placements, engine outputs, and shield frequencies. Lyra studied each detail with meticulous focus. Every weakness, every potential target, every line of attack was visible to her now. The rest of the bridge crew watched in tense silence. They were not afraid, they had trained their entire lives for this moment, but they understood the stakes. Failure was not an option. Humanity's survival, the colonies, the future of the species, rested on their ability to act decisively. Minutes passed, stretching like hours. The Zarathi had yet to open fire, and that was exactly how Lyra wanted it. Waiting, observing, analyzing, the silent alarm allowed humans to strike with absolute precision. The alien fleet might think they had the advantage, but in reality, they were already ensnared in a web of human strategy. "Commander," Torin said, his voice tight with anticipation, "they're slowing down. Formation shifting. Looks like they're preparing to engage." Lyra's eyes narrowed. She didn't need simulations to tell her what was coming next. She had lived through enough battles to know instinctively what the enemy would do. "Let them come," she whispered. "We strike first. We strike hard. And we finish this in seconds." The observation deck fell silent again. Outside, the void seemed to hold its breath. The stars, indifferent to human triumphs or tragedies, twinkled like distant witnesses. Inside the station, humanity's finest waited, ready to demonstrate why, when humans acted, no enemy survived the moment they underestimated them. And so, the silent alarm had done its work. It had warned them without warning them, alerted them without creating panic, and prepared humanity's finest for the arrival of a threat unlike any other. In the darkness of the Viridian sector, with the Zarathi fleet closing in, one truth stood clear: the humans were ready. And when they moved, the galaxy would remember the name Lyra Kale, the commander who turned silence into a weapon. The void of the Viridian sector stretched endlessly, a canvas of black scattered with distant stars. To any untrained eye, it was serene, calm, and lifeless. But for Commander Lyra Kale and the crew of Nova Citadel, it was the stage for the most critical battle humanity had faced in centuries. On the main holo display, the Zarathi armada was no longer a distant blip. It had grown, looming larger, every vessel precisely positioned in formation, engines glowing with an ominous, cold light. Their fleet wasn't just massive, it was intimidating, almost overwhelming in scale. Tens of thousands of ships moved as one, a mechanical tide of death calculated to annihilate anyone in its path. Lyra's jaw tightened as she studied the formations. "They believe size is strength," she murmured to Torin Vey, her second in command. Torin, ever precise and calm, nodded, his hands resting lightly on his console. "They don't understand humans," he said. "We thrive where others falter. They'll see soon enough." Lyra allowed herself a brief smile. The approaching fleet had underestimated humanity's ingenuity, and that mistake, as always, would be costly. Humanity had survived millennia of hardship not by brute force, but by adaptability, cunning, and audacity. This advantage would serve them well today. The human fleet was already in motion. Ships of every class shifted from standby to active deployment, engines igniting with controlled precision. Frigates and destroyers moved to pre-assigned positions, interceptors weaved between them, and massive capital ships braced for combat. Energy shields shimmered into visibility, creating a lattice of glowing barriers that would protect the fleet from initial volleys. Lyra's fingers danced over her command console, issuing orders with precision. "Focus on their forward strike group first. Torin, highlight the largest vessels. I want every weak point cataloged: shields, engines, weapon arrays. We need a surgical strike, not a war of attrition." "Yes, Commander," Torin replied. Holographic projections rotated in midair, revealing detailed schematics of the Zarathi vessels. Each ship's hull, every weapon system, and even the flow of their energy cores were mapped and analyzed. The human fleet didn't just fight, they understood the battlefield in a way the enemy never could. Outside the observation deck, the first skirmishes of light began. Energy signatures from the Zarathi ships pulsed like distant thunder, subtle vibrations of intent. They were cautious, aware that humans were no ordinary opponent, but arrogance lingered in their patterns. They moved as though expecting humanity to flinch. Lyra studied the movements intently. "They're testing us," she said. "They want to gauge our reaction before committing fully." Torin nodded. "Then we give them exactly what they don't expect." Lyra's lips curved into a determined smirk. "Exactly." At that moment, the communications array picked up fragmented signals, Zarathi hailing in a language harsh and metallic. The bridge crew ignored it. Lyra knew what they were saying: threats, orders, perhaps even underestimations. But words meant nothing in the face of calculated action. She gestured toward the fleet's forward line. Position the interceptors for rapid deployment. Frigates, maintain formation around the capital ships. We let them approach, but we control the pace. Let's see how brave they really are. Minutes stretched like hours as the alien vessels drew closer. Their engines flared brighter with each passing moment, the heat signatures detectable even across the vast emptiness of space. Despite their intimidating numbers, something was evident. The Zarathi were moving with a measured caution, unsure of human capability. That hesitation would cost them dearly. Lyra's mind raced, running through contingencies, probabilities, and tactical angles. She did not need to see their weapons charged to know what they would do. Centuries of human ingenuity and countless simulations had trained her instincts to perfection. Every ship, every system, every tactical maneuver was a piece of a greater puzzle, and she was ready to place the final piece. Torin's voice cut through her thoughts. Commander, the forward strike group is within weapons range. They haven't fired yet. Lyra leaned forward, eyes narrowing. Good. Let them hesitate. Let them realize the cost of underestimating humanity. Outside, the first real signs of confrontation emerged. Small reconnaissance ships of the Zarathi darted forward, scanning for weaknesses. Interceptors launched from Nova Citadel, weaving in flawless patterns, their energy shields flaring as they crossed paths with enemy scouts. Within seconds, the humans disabled multiple alien reconnaissance ships without a single human vessel being damaged. Observe, Torin, Lyra said, voice steady. Every movement, every miscalculation, they think speed equals advantage. They don't account for precision, for strategy, for human instinct. The bridge crew watched, enraptured, as the humans executed maneuvers no other species could. Ships twisted through void lanes, energy beams cut through enemy hulls like lightning, and the Zarathi scouts were reduced to debris before their fleet could comprehend the loss. The alien flagship, a monstrous vessel larger than a planet's moon, adjusted course, signaling the beginning of full engagement. Lyra's eyes glimmered with anticipation. Target the flagship, Torin. Prepare the hyperstrike. We strike first and we strike hard. Nothing will survive that we aim to eliminate. Torin's fingers danced across the holographic interface, selecting vectors, firing sequences, and energy calibrations. Ready, Commander. Awaiting your command. Lyra stood tall, surveying the approaching fleet. The void itself seemed to hum in anticipation, a prelude to the storm humanity was about to unleash. Hold for my signal, she commanded. Once we move, there is no turning back. Time slowed. The Zarathi, confident yet unaware, advanced with deadly precision. The humans, calm and calculated, waited for the exact moment when hesitation would turn to catastrophe. Every ship was poised, every system charged, every mind focused. Then Lyra's hand moved to the command panel. Now. The silent tension of the Viridian sector shattered. Energy beams surged, weapons systems roared to life, and humanity's fleet struck with absolute precision. In a matter of moments, the approaching Zarathi forces would begin to realize the peril of underestimating human ingenuity. The approach had ended. The battle had begun. The moment had arrived. The void of the Viridian sector, which had been eerily still for centuries, was about to erupt in a display of human ingenuity and sheer audacity. Commander Lyra Kale stood on the bridge of Nova Citadel, her eyes locked on the approaching Zarathi fleet. Her mind, calm and precise, calculated every probability, every potential outcome, every angle of attack. Torin, she said, voice steady, commanding, hyperstrike protocol. Engage on my mark. Captain Torin Vey nodded, his fingers dancing over the hollow interface. Every weapon system in the human fleet hummed in anticipation. Shields strengthened, interceptors took flight, and energy beams coiled in the weapon arrays like lightning waiting to be unleashed. The humans had waited, studied, and trained for this very moment. The Zarathi had underestimated them, and that would be their undoing. Outside the observation deck, the alien fleet loomed larger than ever. Massive warships bristled with weapons and hull plating that gleamed like dark steel. Yet despite their sheer size and firepower, there was hesitation in their formation, a subtle imperfection that only humans could exploit. Lyra had spotted it immediately, the slight misalignment in their leading strike group, a vulnerability in their outer shield distribution, a hesitation in their energy readings. Target vectors confirmed, Torin said. Engines at 100%. Weapon systems primed. We're ready. Lyra's lips curved into a faint smile. Do it. In an instant, the human fleet surged forward. It was not a reckless charge but a calculated strike, executed with flawless precision. Beams of pure energy lanced across the void, hitting the first wave of Zarathi ships. The attacks were surgical, targeting engines, shield nodes, and weapon arrays. Within seconds, entire squadrons of enemy vessels were crippled or disintegrated. The Zarathi were stunned. Their centuries of dominance and carefully crafted strategies crumbled under the speed, precision, and unpredictability of humanity's attack. Their flagship, the massive vessel at the center of the formation, flickered with damage indicators as energy beams tore through its defenses. Lyra's voice cut through the bridge. Focus on the flagships. Precision strikes. End this before they realize what hit them. Torin nodded, issuing orders that synchronized every ship in the fleet. Human destroyers split into attack vectors, interceptors weaved between enemy lines, and frigates fired concentrated bursts that overloaded shield generators. The Zarathi, who had believed in their superiority, found themselves falling apart in moments. The first flagship erupted in a brilliant cascade of light, sending shockwaves through the surrounding fleet. Smaller vessels nearby were caught in the blast, disintegrating instantly. The remaining ships attempted to regroup, but human tactics were already one step ahead. Every maneuver, every adjustment, every attempt to escape was anticipated and countered. Lyra's eyes never wavered from the holographic display. Target the secondary formations. Do not allow them to recover. Precision, speed, and overwhelming force. Remember, human strike is one and we do not falter. The battle was a symphony of destruction. Energy beams crisscrossed the void, explosions bloomed like supernovae, and the hum of countless engines filled the sector. Yet amidst the chaos, the human fleet moved with uncanny coordination. No ship collided, no weapon misfired. Every attack was calculated, every move pre-planned yet adaptable in real time. The Zarathi tried to retaliate. Massive energy cannons fired in volleys meant to annihilate entire human formations. But their attacks were too slow, too predictable, too rigid. Shields absorbed the brunt of the assault, and counterattacks dismantled their weapon systems before they could fire again. Humans were not just fighting, they were dominating with a precision no other species could match. Torin watched the enemy flagship's hull integrity plummet. "Commander, it's only a matter of moments." Lyra's expression was calm, but her mind raced with calculations. "Then let's finish this decisively." She tapped her console, initiating the final wave. Every remaining human ship synchronized its firepower, focusing on the core of the enemy fleet. Energy beams struck simultaneously from every angle, overwhelming shields, destroying engines, and tearing apart the command structures of the alien vessels. Within seconds, the massive Zarathi flagship was no more. Its destruction sent a ripple through the remaining fleet, causing chaos and panic. The surviving alien ships scattered, attempting to flee. But escape was impossible. Humanity's fleet was relentless. Interceptors pursued them with blinding speed, while capital ships fired concentrated barrages to ensure no vessel escaped unscathed. Within moments, the entire Zarathi armada had been decimated, reduced to fragments of wreckage floating through the cold void. Lyra leaned back slightly, her eyes scanning the remnants of the battle. "It's done." Torin exhaled, his shoulders relaxing for the first time in hours. They never stood a chance. Not against humans. Not today. Outside, the Viridian sector was silent once more, save for the drifting debris of a once mighty alien fleet. The stars, indifferent to the tragedy and triumph alike, twinkled as if witnessing the birth of a new legend. Humanity had struck first, and in doing so, had ensured that the galaxy would remember the lesson. To underestimate humans was to court instant annihilation. Lyra turned to her crew, her voice carrying authority, pride, and quiet satisfaction. Humanity fights not for conquest but for survival. Today we have proven that when we strike decisively. Let this victory be a warning to all who dare challenge us. The crew erupted in subdued celebration, knowing that they had participated in a moment that would be etched into history. Their victory was not just a military triumph, it was a testament to human resilience, ingenuity, and courage. As the fleet regrouped and assessed the damage, Lyra allowed herself a brief moment to look outward at the stars. She thought of the colonies, the people who depended on humanity's strength, and the future that would now be secured. In that silent moment, she understood a simple truth. Humans were unstoppable when united, precise, and determined. And in the cold, dark expanse of the Viridian sector, one fact became undeniable. When humanity strikes first, no enemy survives the seconds that follow. The remnants of the Zarathi fleet drifted in the void like broken skeletons of a once mighty force. What had seemed an unstoppable tide of warships only moments ago was now a scattering of debris, lifeless hulks tumbling silently through space. The Viridian sector, once tense with the anticipation of battle, now lay in eerie silence, broken only by the distant hum of human engines and the occasional crackle of energy fields stabilizing the battlefield. Commander Lyra Kale stood on the bridge of Nova Citadel, her eyes scanning the holographic projections that tracked every fragment of the destroyed enemy fleet. She did not speak at first. Words were unnecessary. The numbers, the data, the sheer scale of destruction, told the story of humanity's decisive victory. Tens of thousands of alien vessels reduced to nothingness within minutes. Not by luck, not by chance, but by human ingenuity, precision, and courage. "Torin," she said finally, her voice calm but carrying weight. "Status report. How many survivors?" Captain Torin Vey adjusted his console, his expression grim yet controlled. "Minimal, Commander. The Zarathi command structure is completely obliterated. Smaller vessels attempted to flee but were intercepted by human interceptors. There may be stragglers but no organized threat remains. Sector scans indicate nearly total annihilation." Lyra allowed a small nod. "As expected. The moment they underestimated us, their fate was sealed. They had power, numbers, but they lacked understanding. They failed to account for human adaptability." Across the bridge, crew members monitored damaged ships, rerouted energy to repair systems, and assessed the fleet's readiness for any further threats. There was no panic, no fear. Only the quiet efficiency of a species accustomed to survival against impossible odds. Humanity had survived threats that others had perished to, and they had learned to strike with unmatched speed and precision. Outside the observation deck, the vast expanse of space bore witness to the aftermath. The largest Zarathi flagship, once a fortress of destruction, had been reduced to glowing fragments that drifted aimlessly through the void. Smaller cruisers and frigates, now nothing more than debris, reflected the light of distant stars, creating a silent, almost beautiful mosaic of destruction. But the beauty was deceptive. It was a testament to the ruthlessness of human strategy and the unforgiving nature of the cosmos. Lyra's gaze shifted to the fleet. Human ships hovered like predators over a field of fallen prey, engines pulsing softly, shields glowing faintly. There was no celebration beyond the quiet acknowledgement of a job executed flawlessly. This was not about glory, it was about survival, about sending a message to the galaxy that humanity could not be taken lightly. "The Zarathi won't forget this day," Torin remarked, breaking the silence. "Nor will any species that witnesses it. Our reputation has just been forged in fire and precision." Lyra's eyes softened, but her voice remained firm. "Let them remember. Let them understand that humanity fights not out of malice but out of necessity. Those who threaten our existence will learn that we do not hesitate. When humans strike, the consequences are absolute." She turned her attention back to the holographic display. Warnings of potential threats, minor debris clusters and residual energy signatures flickered across the interface. Even in victory, vigilance was critical. The galaxy was vast, and while this battle was over, humanity's journey was far from complete. "Prepare the fleet for sector scans," Lyra commanded. "We need to ensure that no survivors regroup, that no fragments can threaten human colonies or allies. Every ship, every crew member, every system must operate at full capacity until this sector is secure." Torin executed the orders swiftly. Human interceptors launched in coordinated sweeps, scanning the wreckage and collecting intelligence from surviving Zarathi technology. Drones were dispatched to gather fragments for analysis, each piece of alien tech scrutinized for weaknesses, patterns, and strategic data. Humanity did not simply destroy, they learned, they adapted, and they ensured such threats would never rise again. Even as the fleet worked, Lyra reflected on the significance of the victory. This was more than a battle. It was a declaration. The galaxy would remember this moment. The day humanity struck first, the day the unstoppable Zarathi fleet collapsed under the precision of human tactics. It was proof that humans were more than mere survivors. They were strategists, innovators, and warriors capable of turning the tide against impossible odds. The observation deck displayed the remnants of the Zarathi fleet drifting helplessly. Lyra's mind traced the events, the anticipation, the approach, the execution of the hyperstrike, and the final eradication of the flagship. Every move had been planned, every contingency accounted for, every ship performing flawlessly. The collapse had not been chaotic, it had been inevitable. Humanity had engineered it with patience, intelligence, and unyielding resolve. Torin, Lyra said, her tone softer now, reflective, record every detail of this engagement. The tactics, the outcomes, the precise execution. Every fleet in the galaxy will eventually learn from this, but it will be humanity's story first. Let history remember that we struck decisively without hesitation. The captain nodded, understanding the gravity of her words. It will be recorded, Commander. And the survivors will know the lesson too: never underestimate humans. Lyra looked beyond the holographic displays, out into the void. Stars twinkled like distant witnesses, indifferent yet eternal. In that silent vastness, the collapse of the Zarathi fleet was not merely destruction. It was a testament to the resilience, intelligence, and unyielding spirit of humanity. The crew of Nova Citadel worked in disciplined quiet, performing damage assessments, coordinating repairs, and cataloging alien technology. Yet even amidst the operational efficiency, there was an unspoken pride. They had witnessed humanity at its finest, clever, precise, and relentless. The galaxy had seen what it meant when humans did not wait, when humans acted first, when humans struck with unerring precision. Minutes stretched into hours as the fleet stabilized. Systems hummed with restored energy, ships aligned for optimal formation, and communication networks scanned the sector for any signs of surviving Zarathi forces. Nothing moved. Nothing survived. The collapse was complete, absolute, and indisputable. Lyra's eyes softened with quiet satisfaction. The Viridian sector is secure, for now, she said. But let this victory serve as a warning. Humanity does not wait for threats to act. When we move, when we strike, enemies do not endure. We are the architects of our own destiny, and the galaxy will learn that soon enough. As the stars gleamed coldly around them, the human fleet remained vigilant, a silent testament to the species' strength, determination, and indomitable will. The collapse of the Zarathi fleet would not just be remembered, it would be studied, recounted, and feared. And in that silence, in the aftermath of destruction, humanity had made its mark. For in the cold, infinite expanse of space, one truth had been carved into history: when humans strike, the enemy collapses. Without warning, without mercy, and without exception. The aftermath of the battle left the Viridian sector eerily quiet. Human ships hovered like vigilant guardians, their engines humming softly as they maintained formation over the wreckage of the shattered Zarathi fleet. Across the bridge of Nova Citadel, Commander Lyra Kale stood with a commanding presence, her eyes scanning every holographic display, every energy signature, every fragment drifting through the void. This was no time for complacency. The battle had been won, yes, but the galaxy was vast and survival required vigilance beyond the victory itself. Torin, Lyra said, her voice calm yet imbued with authority, initiate communications with nearby colonies and allied species. They must understand the outcome of this engagement and its implications. Captain Torin Vey nodded, his fingers flying across the hollow interface. Understood, Commander. All messages will be encrypted, transmitted, and confirmed. They will know the Zarathi threat has been neutralized, permanently. Lyra's gaze lingered on the holographic projection of the Zarathi flagship's remains. Even in ruin, its scale and design spoke of a species that had dominated countless star systems. Yet, despite their size, their technology, their history of conquest, they had fallen. Not by accident. Not by luck. But because humanity had acted decisively, strategically, and without hesitation. This is more than a victory, Lyra said softly, almost to herself. It is a message. One that must echo across the stars. Humanity will not be underestimated. Humanity will not be threatened without consequence. The first transmissions reached the colonies. Panic, awe, and relief rippled through human and allied settlements alike. Messages described the annihilation of the Zarathi fleet, the unparalleled efficiency of human strategy, and the unwavering courage of Nova Citadel's fleet. For many, it was difficult to comprehend that a single species, humans, could so completely dismantle a force they had long feared. Commander, Torin said, his voice steady yet tinged with awe, all colonies confirm reception. Many are already mobilizing defenses in response, inspired by our actions. Some are even pledging resources to support future operations. Your leadership has united not just humans, but allies across multiple systems. Lyra allowed herself a brief, approving nod. Good. Let this be the reckoning. Not just for the Zarathi but for the galaxy. Every species will understand the cost of misjudging humanity. Outside, the remaining Zarathi stragglers attempted to flee. A few smaller vessels had survived the initial assault, their systems damaged but operational. The human fleet did not pursue out of malice but out of necessity. Strategic precision required that no threat remain unchecked. Interceptors were dispatched in swift, calculated strikes, cutting off escape routes and neutralizing these remnants with minimal force. Within moments the sector was clear. The Zarathi were finished, not as survivors but as a cautionary tale. Lyra turned to the bridge crew. Prepare for long-range scans. Any signs of dormant fleets, hidden bases, or reinforcements must be detected immediately. We cannot allow the galaxy's history to repeat itself. The crew worked efficiently, every member performing tasks with practiced expertise. Drones swept through the debris fields, scanning for survivors or salvageable technology. Ships patrolled key sectors, their sensors probing for anomalies or hidden threats. Humanity's victory was thorough, absolute, and meticulous. Torrin spoke again, his tone respectful yet reflective. Commander, the Zarathi underestimated us at every turn. They relied on numbers, on fear, on intimidation. But humans think differently. Humans adapt. Humans strike first, and when they do, the consequences are total. Lyra's eyes softened slightly, a hint of pride touching her expression. Exactly, Torrin. That is the essence of humanity. We survive where others falter. We act decisively when others hesitate. And we endure no matter the odds. A silence settled over the bridge, a quiet reflection after the storm of battle. The crew knew that the galaxy would change because of what had occurred here. Humanity had proven itself not just as survivors or warriors, but as a species capable of reshaping the balance of power in the stars. As the fleet continued its patrol, Lyra's mind wandered to the larger implications. News of this victory would ripple across multiple systems, instilling hope among allies and fear among adversaries. The Zarathi's annihilation was a statement. Humans would no longer be passive, no longer underestimated, no longer dismissed. Torrin, Lyra said, her voice firm, send a transmission to the Central Human Council. Inform them of the battle's outcome, our losses, and the strategic data collected. Recommend immediate expansion of defense protocols in all vulnerable sectors. The galaxy must recognize that humanity's reach is growing. Yes, Commander, Torrin replied, transmitting the data with utmost precision. The bridge crew continued their operations, managing repairs, coordinating patrols, and monitoring energy levels across the fleet. Outside, the vast emptiness of space seemed peaceful, yet every officer understood that peace was fragile. Humanity's victory had sent a message, but vigilance was eternal. Lyra walked to the observation deck, gazing out at the debris field left by the Zarathi collapse. The glow of broken ships reflected in the glass, creating a dazzling yet somber display. She thought of the colonies, the people who relied on her fleet, the countless generations that would be inspired by humanity's decisiveness today. This is only the beginning, she whispered to herself. The galaxy will learn the truth. Humans do not wait. Humans strike first. And when we do, nothing survives to tell the tale. In the following hours, reports arrived from allied species and nearby systems. Many expressed gratitude, some awe, others disbelief. It became clear that humanity's victory was not merely tactical, it was transformational. The perception of humans as a minor player in galactic politics had been shattered. A new era had begun, one where human ingenuity, adaptability, and courage were feared and respected in equal measure. Torrin stood beside Lyra, silently observing the stars. They'll remember this, he said quietly. The Zarathi, every species that witnesses our strength, they'll remember. Humanity has set a new standard for what it means to be powerful in this galaxy. Lyra nodded, her gaze unwavering. Yes, and let them remember. Not because we seek glory but because we protect what is ours. Every colony, every human life, every corner of our civilization. Let the reckoning resonate across the stars. We have struck, and the galaxy now knows the price of underestimating humanity. As the Viridian sector settled into a tentative calm, the human fleet maintained formation, vigilant, precise, and resolute. Every officer, every ship, every system was a testament to the strength of humanity. The battle had ended, the enemy vanquished, but the consequences of the reckoning would echo across light years, shaping the galaxy's future and establishing humanity as a force to be reckoned with. For in the cold, infinite expanse of space, one truth became undeniable. Humanity does not hesitate, humanity does not falter, and when humans strike, the galaxy remembers. The Viridian sector lay in solemn quiet, a vast expanse now littered with the remnants of a once mighty Zarathi armada. Ships of unimaginable size, bristling with alien weaponry, floated broken and powerless among the stars, glowing faintly as their energy cores flickered out. The silence of the void was profound, interrupted only by the steady hum of the human fleet maintaining vigilant patrols. Humanity had won, but the aftermath demanded attention, strategy, and care. On the bridge of Nova Citadel, Commander Lyra Kale observed the scene through reinforced glass, her expression both reflective and commanding. The battle had been swift, decisive, and complete. Tens of thousands of alien vessels reduced to drifting debris, not by luck but by human ingenuity, courage, and absolute precision. Yet victory was not an endpoint, it was a responsibility. Torin, she said, her voice calm but filled with authority, initiate full fleet-wide scans. Any surviving alien vessels, automated defense satellites, or hidden installations must be identified and neutralized. We cannot leave anything to chance. Captain Torin Vey moved quickly, his fingers flying across the holographic interface as data streamed in from every ship. Understood, Commander. Scans are underway. All human vessels are operational. We've sustained minimal damage and the fleet is ready for any contingency. Lyra nodded. Good. Begin debris recovery operations. Salvageable Zarathi technology may provide insight for future defenses. We learn from every engagement, and this one has much to teach. The fleet deployed specialized drones, sleek vessels designed to navigate the debris field. They collected energy cores, weapon schematics, and shield matrices from destroyed Zarathi ships. Scientists and engineers aboard Nova Citadel analyzed the data in real time, identifying weaknesses, patterns, and innovations to improve human technology. Every fragment of enemy tech became an opportunity for humanity to evolve and prepare for future threats. Outside, the stars reflected off drifting hull fragments, casting flickering shadows across the fleet. Lyra's gaze swept over the scene. Despite the destruction, she felt no satisfaction in bloodshed. The victory was about survival, protection, and the affirmation of humanity's place in the galaxy. Each flicker of energy from the wreckage reminded her that life, even alien life, carried weight, and that humans fought not for conquest, but to defend what was theirs. Torin, Lyra continued, her tone thoughtful, coordinate with nearby human colonies. Report the battle outcome, ensure defenses are reinforced, and advise on tactical strategies for rapid response. The galaxy will remember our actions, and our allies must understand our strength and readiness. Yes, Commander, Torin replied, sending communications across multiple light years. Within minutes, colonies acknowledged receipt. Relief, awe, and renewed determination echoed in the responses. Humanity's decisive action had not only eradicated a threat but had inspired confidence and unity across human settlements. The aftermath of the battle extended beyond strategy and logistics. For the crew of Nova Citadel, it was a time of reflection. Officers moved quietly through the corridors, checking systems, coordinating repairs, and monitoring fleet integrity. Every person understood the significance of what had occurred. They had witnessed humanity at its finest, coordinated, precise, and unstoppable. Lyra stepped onto the observation deck, her eyes fixed on the remnants of the Zarathi fleet. The stars seemed indifferent to the destruction, but to her, the scene was a reminder of humanity's responsibility and potential. We've proven ourselves today, she said softly, almost to herself. Not as conquerors but as protectors. The galaxy will know the cost of underestimating humans. Torin joined her, standing silently beside the commander. They'll spread tales of today's events. Other species, allies and adversaries alike, will hear of our fleet's efficiency, our precision, and our resolve. Lyra's gaze remained on the distant debris. Let them remember. Let them learn. Let this victory resonate as a testament to humanity's determination and intelligence. We strike not recklessly but decisively. And when we do, no enemy survives to challenge us again. Amid the debris, a few surviving Zarathi scouts attempted to escape detection. Human interceptors, swift and unyielding, pursued them, ensuring that the victory was absolute. No vessel left the sector with its integrity intact. Humanity's presence had been asserted clearly and unambiguously. The lesson was simple: any threat to humans would meet the same fate. In the hours following the engagement, Nova Citadel coordinated fleet-wide maintenance. Shields were reinforced, weapon systems recalibrated, and damaged hulls repaired. Every human ship emerged battle-ready, a testament to discipline, foresight, and technological advancement. The efficiency of human operations was as impressive as their tactical genius, and the fleet's ability to recover quickly ensured that they were prepared for whatever challenges lay ahead. Lyra turned to Torin, her expression serious but resolute. Prepare a report on enemy technology and tactics. Include recommendations for upgrades, strategy improvements, and defensive protocols. Humanity must be ready for all future encounters. Yes, Commander, Torin replied. The analysis will be comprehensive. Every detail, every maneuver, every weakness will be documented. As the fleet completed its operations, news of humanity's decisive victory began to reach other sectors. Allied species marveled at the effectiveness of the human fleet. Distant colonies celebrated not merely the defeat of a formidable enemy, but the demonstration of human intelligence, courage, and unity. Stories of the battle spread like wildfire, carried by communications networks and diplomatic channels. Humanity's reputation grew exponentially, and its presence in the galaxy became impossible to ignore. For Lyra, the aftermath was both a moment of reflection and a reminder of duty. The galaxy had witnessed human decisiveness, but vigilance remained essential. Tomorrow new threats would emerge. New challenges would test humanity's resilience. And the fleet would be ready. Today we showed the galaxy what humanity can do, Lyra said quietly, her eyes scanning the horizon of stars. We strike first, we strike hard, and we endure. And when humans act, the universe remembers. The Viridian sector, once a quiet corner of space, had become a symbol of human strength, precision, and courage. In the aftermath, the galaxy understood a new truth. Humanity was not just a participant in the cosmic theater, they were a force capable of shaping its course. And as the human fleet maintained its vigil, prepared for whatever lay ahead, one fact became clear to every observer across the stars. When humans strike, victory is absolute, and their legacy is eternal. The Viridian sector, once silent and foreboding, now shimmered under the presence of humanity's victorious fleet. Stars reflected off drifting debris, casting faint, dancing lights across the human ships that hovered with quiet authority. The Zarathi threat had been neutralized, their armada reduced to fragments floating aimlessly in the void, a testament to the power, precision, and ingenuity of humanity. Commander Lyra Kale stood on the observation deck of Nova Citadel, gazing at the aftermath with a mixture of satisfaction and quiet reflection. The battle had been swift, decisive, and flawless, but the true victory went beyond destruction. It lay in the message humanity had sent to the galaxy. Every species, every colony, every corner of the cosmos now understood a truth that could not be ignored. Humans were formidable, cunning, and relentless. Torin, Lyra said, turning to her second-in-command, ensure all reconnaissance drones continue scanning the sector. We must know if anything survived. Humanity cannot leave even the smallest threat unchecked. Captain Torin Vey nodded, issuing commands to the fleet with practiced precision. Scans are ongoing, Commander. All systems operational. Any survivors will be identified, and we will neutralize or recover them as necessary. Humanity leaves nothing to chance. Lyra allowed herself a brief moment of satisfaction. Their victory had been total, but humanity was never content with mere survival. Every battle, every engagement was a lesson. Every encounter shaped the evolution of their species, their technology, and their strategy. The Zarathi had underestimated humans, and that miscalculation had been their undoing. Across the galaxy, news of the Viridian sector engagement spread like wildfire. Human colonies and allied species celebrated the decisive victory, not only as a triumph of arms but as a testament to human ingenuity, adaptability, and courage. For centuries, humanity had been underestimated, seen as a minor power in the cosmic stage, but now they were undeniable. The galaxy had learned the lesson firsthand. To underestimate humans was to court inevitable defeat. Lyra turned her attention to the crew on the bridge, each member focused, disciplined, and unwavering. They had executed a battle that would become legend, yet they moved with quiet efficiency. There was no boastful celebration, no reckless pride. Humanity's strength lay not just in victory, but in precision, responsibility, and unity. Every officer, every pilot, every strategist had contributed to a demonstration of what humanity could achieve when fully united and prepared. Torin, Lyra said softly, her gaze returning to the stars, ensure that records of this engagement are preserved in every colony and shared with allied species. The tactics, the strategy, the execution, they must be remembered. Humanity's legacy will be defined not only by survival but by the example we set. Yes, Commander, Torin replied. The records will be archived and distributed. Our actions today will shape interstellar diplomacy, strategy, and defense for generations to come. Beyond the immediate aftermath, humanity's impact would resonate across the galaxy. Young humans on distant colonies would hear of the Viridian Sector engagement and imagine themselves aboard Nova Citadel, executing precise strikes against impossible odds. Other species, once skeptical of humanity's capabilities, would now regard them with respect, or fear. Humanity had not only defended itself but had redefined its place among the stars. Lyra allowed herself a rare moment of reflection. The battle had been necessary, the victory complete, and yet the weight of responsibility remained. Humanity was now a beacon, a force capable of shaping the galaxy's future. And with that power came expectation, vigilance, and an unyielding need to uphold the standards they had set. "Commander," Torin said, breaking her reverie, "reports indicate survivors from nearby systems are attempting to communicate. They wish to align with humanity, offer support, and learn from our strategy. Our influence is growing, Commander. The galaxy is beginning to recognize our role." Lyra's expression softened, tinged with pride. "Good. Let them learn not only from our victories but from our values. Humanity fights for survival, for justice, and for the protection of its own. Let every alliance we forge, every trust we build, be founded on respect for our strength and our responsibility." The fleet moved in perfect formation, conducting patrols, analyzing debris, and ensuring the sector was secure. Nova Citadel became the center of human operations in the region, a hub for coordination, learning, and interstellar diplomacy. The legacy of the battle extended beyond mere destruction. It was the foundation of humanity's reputation as a strategic, fearless, and united species. Lyra's thoughts drifted to the future. The galaxy was vast, filled with potential allies and threats alike. Humanity had proven itself capable of overcoming even the greatest odds, but this was only the beginning. Every engagement, every exploration, and every encounter would test their ingenuity, courage, and unity. And humanity would rise to each challenge. "Torin," she said, turning from the observation deck, "prepare a fleet-wide address. Every human and allied colony must hear it. Let the galaxy know what it means to stand with humanity, and what it means to face us in battle." "Yes, Commander," Torin said, nodding. "The message will be clear: humanity is ready, vigilant, and formidable." As the crew prepared for the address, Lyra allowed herself a moment to gaze outward. The stars stretched endlessly, indifferent witnesses to human triumph and potential. Yet in that vast, silent expanse, one truth resonated clearly: humanity had arrived as a force the galaxy could no longer ignore. The Zarathi threat had been eradicated, the Viridian Sector secured, and humanity's legend forged in the fires of precision and courage. Across light years, across colonies, across species, the story of the human fleet's decisive strike would echo for generations. And in the quiet of the observation deck, Commander Lyra Kale knew this. The galaxy had learned the first lesson, but humanity's journey was only beginning. With unity, ingenuity, and unwavering resolve, they would continue to shape their destiny, leaving a legacy that no enemy could erase and no observer could ignore. For in the boundless void of space, one truth had been etched forever into history: humans strike first, they strike decisively, and their legacy endures across the stars.